This wonderful $8 million addition, over 26,000 square feet, will feature 8 new classrooms, of course, a kitchen, dining room facility, corridor that connects the existing building. But most importantly, it's reinvestment in our education system. I was the first mayor in the country to ever take responsibility for public schools. And all my political advisors told me that's the end of your political career because there's no way to go. You can't improve it. But my theory about life was I have wonderful parents. I had 3 brothers, 3 sisters. And my father was a great mayor, but he's a great father. And he said, I'm going to give you a great name. I will give you an education. And from there, you will work on behalf of that name and the education that I give to you. And that was the commitment that he gave: a good family life, a great name, and of course, a great education. And all of us kind of struggle, what do we want to give to our children? I said the greatest gift you give to your children is a great family environment, a great name, and most importantly, an education. You give them an education, you give them the tools for life. And when we fail, what happens is they fall through the cracks, and from there they have a very, very difficult, challenging time. And that's why, to me, education is the most important aspect after family life and religious life, is education for children. And every children are going to learn differently, and every children can improve. I don't care what they tell me. Every student can improve in education. We cannot ever think of a child just because they failed, just because they had a bad grade, that lost for life. They are not, because I'm an example of that, I'd be very frank. Those Saturdays that's in Bridgeport, I want to go out and play basketball, football, and I had to go to a tutor for math and reading. I could not get out of that. I could never get out of that one. And all my buddies from Canaryville said, oh, come on, don't worry, come on down. Don't worry, I will slip you out. But he said that you have to get an education. And every child learns differently, and every child can succeed. And that's what we have to believe in life. And that's why over 22 years, Chicago taxpayers put over $5 billion in building new schools and remodeling, renovations, and trying to really show that a public school is not just someplace you look at it, but it's a learning environment. It's a culture of learning, which I really believe in that. I got back from China. I went to China for almost 3 weeks, and it's amazing to see what's happening in China. And of course, everybody, we all worry about China and all that. But we should not worry about them. We should just move along and really educate our children in regards to the basic courses and, of course, technology, and think that we can compete, and we can compete with China. But this idea that another generation is not going to do better, my theory is that I read about the Depression. Some people maybe here went through the Depression, but the Depression was a terrible time for this country. We're in a recession, and everybody's in doom and gloom. They were really doom and gloom. Just think, they had no jobs, no food, no salaries, nothing coming in. In some way, this country came through the Great Depression, and now we're in a recession. That hurts everybody, but nothing like a depression, where people lost their savings, lost everything in life. And so we have to look at our history and figure out how our great-grandparents or grandparents came through that and what we can do differently today. And that today is not too differently is because you put more and more money into education, and that's quality education. That's the whole thing. The other day, I went up to a factory up on Belmont Avenue. You see a Turkish immigrant from 13 years ago, had about 150 people working in the textile industry. And I asked him, I said, how do you compete with China? He said, I have a plant in China. I said, well, what do you think, are we going to be here? He said, easily. We have great workers. I have 27 ethnic groups here. I have good quality men and women. And of course, an Irish immigrant came in, and she was the advisor to him. And I knew that was going to work out very well. And she came over with her brogue, and she was the salesperson. I said, well, you got to have a good salesperson there. They'll sell anything. And it was really exciting to see this whole factory. And I said, what's the difference? She said, here, we really produce things. It's amazing. We're much more creative. And it's what happens. And that's where you have to feel a belief that America's a great country. We're in the doldrums about this, and we have to get out of it. I mean, we keep listening to the media. Well, I wouldn't know where we're going to go after this. I can't figure this out. Every day there's a new story about something. And to me, we have to just pull our country out, because if we don't, that next generation is going to do better. And that next generation will be better. I believe that. And I believe it because I've seen young men and women who come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. It's amazing. It's amazing. Of that generation of young men and women that have gone and served and come back with a real commitment about this country. Maybe we don't hear about that as much, but you should meet these young men and women. It's amazing the credentials and what they've done and what they come back. A friend of mine's grandson is just going over for second term, sniper in the Marine Corps. Unbelievable young man. And he unfortunately lost a number of his good buddies, but he went back there for one reason, just because the President of the United States has ordered him back, and he represents that flag. And so to me, that's what America is all about. We kind of forget those things. We try to figure out, maybe we see something on TV and we're getting ready for the royal wedding, but there's better things in life. And I know there's much better things in life, and I want to make sure that we all appreciate that. And being a public servant, I think, is important because you serve the public. And we're always concerned about taxes. You know that. I mean, in this day and age, I tell people, you know, what happened is the last 50 years, people worked and put money in one pocket. The second pocket, they bought a piece of property. And the home value went up from 25 or 50,000 all the way to 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. It kept going up. And everybody thought when I retire or sometime in life that I'll be able to move and I'll be able to sell that property. And they made a lot of money on that. That's gone. In other words, that's gone. And that really frightens people, because that was where the middle class grew, not only with the salary, but with the purchase of real estate. And that is one of the issues they're confronting in America right now, because that was their nest egg. That was something they built up. And at the time, if they wanted to move, they could move, and they could basically make some money, make some profit off it. And that's what it really bothers America. And that is hurting the working people of America. I firmly believe that, because there's no safety net for them. There's no safety net the government provides. And that's what we were concerned about. That's why the valuation has to go down with taxes. I'd be very frank. I said that to I don't know how many assessors we have in life, but I said to the new assessor, values have gone down. So how does that reflect in taxes? It has to reflect in taxes. If it doesn't, then I don't think people can afford the taxation that many times people want to give from government, well, local government or state government or anything. And so that's my feeling about this city and what's going to happen in America. And I think as we get more positive about it, because our children deserve positive role models and not negative role models. And up here, you have wonderful families. You know, the commitment of families, that is with the strength of all of us here. To me, that is a great contribution that Mount Greenwood has given, and Beverly Morgan Park has given to our city. And you have to have cooperation. You know, everybody has difference of opinion. Everybody wants to do different things in life. But in the end result, if you don't cooperate, then you have stalemate. When you have stalemate, who really loses out? Basically the taxpayers. And that's why the investment in the ag school was very important. The investment in Bernard School and Campus Park, investment in Morgan Park, restoration of that, is Clissell School, opening branch libraries, the Beverly Branch Library, Mount Greenwood, Walker Branch Library, Beverly Arts Center that everybody worked on in the community. The new 22nd Police District really made a statement on behalf of the men and women in the police department, and also the quality of the police, the quality of the building itself, and how the amenities are important to people who serve and protect us. The new fire station on 95th Street was really important because that was another symbol of a community anchor. And all the improvements dealing with open space and gardens and all that, and parks. You know, I'm an open space and parks person. And to me, that is very, very important as you expand different parks from Mount Greenwood or Black Belt Park and others. Capital improvements, infrastructure, medians are really important. TIF district, again, all the thoroughfares and medians dealing with tax increment financing. And the historic bungalow initiative started right here in Beverly, which is really important. The commitment of bungalows. I grew up in a bungalow, and I look back, and I don't know how we did it. There's 11 of us, and I can't figure that one out. That is history there. And I always tell people, I lived in an attic for I don't know how many years of my life. I never realized I was homeless either. There's too many in that bungalow. I look back, and there are great memories of living in a bungalow with my grandparents, my parents, and my 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And I'm trying to figure out how we did this. And that's really interesting when you're a younger kid, how you survived life. But it was very important because it was a home environment. That's what it was. It wasn't a house. It was really a home environment that we truly had in Bridgeport that I was very, very proud of. But again, I want to thank all of you for your great commitment to your families. I mean, that is, to me, the great commitment that we all have to make. We have to sacrifice for them. We do that. And the more we sacrifice for another generation of children and grandchildren, the better off this community and the better off the state and the country will be. Because our purpose in life as adults is to make a better way of life for our children. And we cannot be negative. And sometimes as we listen to the news, we're very negative about everything. But there's so many positive things in life that move on. And until you're struck with serious illness and families things, a situation, then I'll tell you, police officer Fisk that was killed in the line of duty. I'll give you a story. In my office, I have in my side room, I have my desk there and my papers. But most important, I have a collage of pictures of people who have died or who were killed in the line of duty. Firemen, policemen, and people that you know that really reflect how human you are as mayor. Mayor is not someone in just the way he has the title, but he's human as anybody else. And I call this, people get titles and they don't know who they are. That keeps you who you are and where you came from. Because all those pictures of people who were killed in the line of duty or friends of mine who died had an effect upon me or friends. And one day, the Irish Queen was down in the last St. Patrick's Day parade, and I was talking about one picture, police officer Fisk, who was killed in the line of duty, and I realized his daughter was there. And I was talking how much of an impact they had upon me and their children, their 4 children, and their wife and their family and all this. And that was very impressive to me. And then I realized later on, she was crying, unfortunately. Then I realized who it was. And that reflects to me that you're human and that you cannot forget people like that sacrifice for us to make this city a better city. So that's what life is all about. And for 22 years, to me, is the greatest honor to be mayor of the city of Chicago. Why? Because it's people. It isn't the title. It's the people that you meet. Some of them like you, some of them don't, some disagree with you. One day they like you, one day they don't. But in the long run, they impressed to me that they had just as much love of the city that I did. And so to me, that's what public life is about passion, not about title, not about the name, but it's a passion that you have to see. And the passion I have for education, and the passion these teachers have for education is the best thing we can have. Because what it is these children will be up here, they will be out there someplace in life to make this city, this country, a better world. And you have to believe in that, because if you don't, then you believe in who you are and what family you are. And here, this community is noticed for families. That strong root of families and a commitment of your children. God bless you and thank you.